Are you ready to design a life filled with purpose, joy, and success? In this audiobook summary of Designing Your Life, Build a Well-Lived, Joyful Life by Bill Burnett, summarized by detailed book summaries, you'll discover how to apply design thinking principles to create a fulfilling and well-lived life. No more waiting for motivation to strike. It's time to take control and design the life you want with intention and clarity. In this summary, we'll explore key concepts like reframing your challenges, prototyping your dreams, and building a life that aligns with your values. Whether you're feeling stuck in your career or unsure about your next step, these practical insights will guide you toward building a joyful, meaningful, and successful life. Design your joyful life. Start designing your future today. Chapter 1. Start where you are, reimagining your life path. In the opening chapter, Designing Your Life, How to Build a Well-Lived, Joyful Life, authors Bill Burnett and Dave Evans set the stage by addressing one of the most common struggles we all face, the feeling of being stuck. Life often feels like a maze with endless options, decisions, and the pressure to have everything figured out. But Burnett and Evans offer a powerful alternative. Rather than feeling paralyzed by the overwhelming choices, we can design our lives just like we would approach any creative project. The first step in designing a life you love is to start where you are. Often, we get caught up in the idea that we need to have it all together before we take any action. We think we need to wait for the perfect moment, the right circumstances, or the ideal conditions before we can begin. But in reality, you don't have to wait for everything to be in place. The process of design starts by accepting where you currently stand, the good, the bad, and everything in between. A major takeaway in this chapter is the idea of design thinking, a creative problem-solving approach used in various fields like technology, business, and the arts. Applying design thinking to your life allows you to treat it as a project to be developed and refined over time. Just as with any other project, life isn't something that's predetermined. It's an ongoing experiment. By embracing this mindset, we open ourselves up to exploring different paths, testing new ideas, and making adjustments as we go along. The author suggests we reframe our mindset from seeing challenges as insurmountable roadblocks to viewing them as design opportunities. This shift in perspective allows us to tackle life's obstacles with creativity, resilience, and optimism. For example, instead of seeing a setback like losing a job as a disaster, we can view it as an opportunity to reevaluate our skills, passions, and career trajectory. The point is to stop seeing problems as failures and start seeing them as chances for growth. A fun and insightful exercise introduced in this chapter is a dysfunctional life exercise. In this exercise, Burnett and Evans challenge you to imagine your life as if it were designed by someone who has no idea what they're doing. Think about a life that feels chaotic, unfulfilling, or misaligned with your goals. What would that look like? The purpose of this visualization is to help you clearly identify the aspects of your life that aren't working and clarify what you truly don't want. Once you know what doesn't work, it's easier to focus on what does. Another key theme in Chapter 1 is the importance of reframing. We all have preconceived notions about what makes a good life, often shaped by society's expectations, our families, or our own assumptions. But these assumptions can lead to a fixed mindset that keeps us on a narrow, predetermined path. In contrast, the authors promote a growth mindset, which is all about embracing the idea that life is a dynamic process. With a growth mindset, we understand that we don't need to have all the answers right away. Instead, we allow ourselves the freedom to explore, to fail, and to grow. By reframing our challenges and adopting a growth mindset, we also allow ourselves to take action. The authors compare this process to how designers approach a problem. In design thinking, the goal is not to come up with a perfect solution from the start, but to test different ideas, prototype, and refine as you go. Life, much like a design project, requires constant iterations. There will be trial and error. But with each step, we move closer to crafting a life that aligns with our values and passions. Finally, Burnett and Evans emphasize that designing your life is not a one-time thing. It's a continual process of experimenting, adjusting, and evolving. The key is not to expect immediate perfection, but to take action and learn along the way. Every small adjustment, every change, and every experiment brings you closer to a life that is more in tune with what you want and need. Life design is an ongoing, evolving practice, and the power to create a meaningful life is in your hands. So, if you're feeling stuck right now, remember, starting where you are is the first step. Don't wait for the perfect conditions or a magic moment. The magic happens when you take that first step, reframe the challenges, and begin the design process. Life is fluid, and so is your path. It's time to embrace the opportunity to design the life you've always dreamed of. Chapter 2, Building a Compass, Clarifying Your Life's Direction. In Chapter 2 of Designing Your Life, How to Build a Well-Lived, Joyful Life, Bill Burnett and Dave Evans take us a step deeper into the life design process. After learning to start where you are, the next essential step is to clarify your direction. This chapter is all about building your personal compass, the guiding principles and values that will direct your life's journey. One of the most powerful concepts introduced in this chapter is the idea of a life design compass. Just like a compass helps a traveler navigate through unknown terrain, your life compass helps you align your actions with your core values and aspirations. But here's the catch. Most of us don't have a clear compass when it comes to life. We often go through life letting external factors like job titles, societal expectations, or what others think of us determine the direction we should take. Burnett and Evans argue that before embarking on any journey of life design, it's crucial to know who you are and what truly matters to you. This is about identifying your core values, passions, and goals. Without clarity around your own compass, it's easy to get lost or distracted along the way, especially in today's world where we're constantly bombarded with external influences and opinions. The authors break down the process of clarifying your compass into several steps, starting with the notion of wayfinding, a term borrowed from the world of navigation. Instead of trying to follow a strict map of where you think you should go, wayfinding encourages you to focus on your values, interests, and experiences along the way. It's not about knowing your destination up front, but navigating through your experiences and letting your compass guide you in the right direction. A key tool for clarifying your life's direction is reflective inquiry. This involves asking yourself deep, meaningful questions about what truly drives you, what makes you feel alive, what you do when time seems to disappear, what experiences do you look back on and feel the most proud of. Reflecting on these questions helps you get in touch with what you actually want in life rather than what others expect of you. To make this exercise more actionable, Burnett and Evans suggest writing down your thoughts as you answer these questions, creating a written record of your compass. What are the values you want to live by? Is it creativity, connection, stability? What are your long-term aspirations? The authors stress that these answers don't have to be perfect, but they must be honest. After all, your compass isn't about informing to others' expectations or meeting someone else's idea of success. It's about setting the course for your unique path. The process of clarifying your direction also requires you to confront some hard truths about your current life. Are you living according to your values? Or have you been following someone else's definition of success? It's easy to get caught in the trap of chasing after achievements, status, or money without considering whether those things truly align with your deeper goals and passions. This chapter asks you to be brutally honest with yourself about whether you're truly designing the life you want or simply following a default path set by others. The author suggests that many people struggle with getting clear on their values because they're overwhelmed by too many options. In a world that constantly presents us with new opportunities, distractions, and comparisons, it's easy to lose sight of what truly matters. This is where the idea of prototyping comes in, another key concept in the book. Rather than committing to a particular life direction right away, the author suggests testing different options and experimenting with various paths. Just as designers prototype different models before settling on a final product, you can prototype different ways of living. You can try different hobbies, jobs, or activities and see how they align with your values. Prototyping allows you to explore, learn, and refine your direction without feeling locked into a single choice. One of the most important points in Chapter 2 is that your compass is not a static object. It's a living, evolving part of who you are. As you go through life, your values, interests, and goals may shift, and that's okay. In fact, it's natural. The process of life design is about ongoing learning, reevaluating, and adjusting your course when necessary. Just as your physical compass needs to be recalibrated from time to time, your life compass requires regular check-ins to make sure it still points in the direction that aligns with who you are. This chapter also challenges the myth of the perfect life. It's easy to believe that if we design our lives correctly, everything will fall into place. But Burnett and Evans make it clear that life design isn't about creating a flawless existence. It's about being intentional with the choices you make and aligning them with what matters most. There will still be challenges, bumps in the road, and moments of uncertainty. But when you have a clear compass, you can face those challenges with confidence and resilience. The final takeaway from Chapter 2 is that your compass will serve as a guiding light when you face uncertainty. By understanding what you value and what you want out of life, you can navigate through difficult decisions and situations with greater clarity. Whether you're deciding on a career change, a relationship, or a big life move, your compass will help you stay true to yourself and make choices that support your long-term happiness and fulfillment. So, take the time to clarify your life's direction. Reflect on what truly matters to you. Identify your core values and start building your personal compass. Life is not a series of random events, but a journey you get to design. The more clearly you understand where you're heading, the more confidently you'll be able to navigate through life's twists and turns. Chapter 3, Reframing Your Problems, Seeing New Possibilities. In Chapter 3 of Designing Your Life, How to Build a Well-Lived, Joyful Life, Bill Burnett and Dave Evans dive into one of the most transformative and practical tools of life design, reframing. This chapter shows us how to take problems that seem unsolvable or limiting and reframe them into opportunities for growth, exploration, and design. The authors begin by explaining that most people get stuck when faced with a problem. We tend to look at challenges from a fixed perspective and feel like there's no way out. Whether it's a career decision, a relationship challenge, or a personal goal that's not working out, we often see only one way to solve it, or worse, we see it as an obstacle we can't overcome. This is where reframing comes in. Reframing, according to Burnett and Evans, is the act of shifting our perspective to see the same situation in a new light. Instead of focusing on the limitations or what's not working, we start looking for what is possible and how we can approach the problem in a way that opens up new avenues. Essentially, reframing allows us to unlock new solutions and make creative decisions about how to move forward. The authors explain that reframing is an essential skill for life design because it turns problems into opportunities for experimentation and growth. Instead of thinking that a challenge is wrong or bad, reframing helps us view it as a learning experience or a stepping stone. This shift in mindset is crucial for designing a life that aligns with your goals, values, and desires. One of the key concepts in this chapter is that reframing is a tool, not just a mindset. Burnett and Evans emphasize that it's a practice you can use whenever you face obstacles. It's about asking the right questions and being open to different possibilities. For instance, if you find yourself stuck in a job that doesn't bring you joy, instead of saying, "I have to stay here because I need the money," you might reframe the situation as, "What can I learn from this job that will help me in the next step of my career?" Reframing also involves recognizing that there's more than one way to define a problem. Often, we get caught up in defining our challenges in a way that limits our thinking. For example, we might define a problem as, "I hate my job," instead of reframing it as, "I need more creative challenges in my work." The latter opens up more possibilities for finding a solution, whether it's seeking a new role, taking on a creative side project, or learning a new skill. The authors also introduced the concept of designing your problems. This may sound odd at first, but it's about taking ownership of the problems in your life and shaping them in a way that empowers you. Instead of avoiding or resisting problems, life designers embrace them, knowing that each problem is an opportunity to learn and grow. Designing your problems means you're in the driver's seat of your life, choosing how to approach challenges rather than letting them define you. An example Burnett and Evans give is someone who wants to make a career change but feels stuck in their current job. Reframing this problem could involve looking at it from a design thinking perspective. What parts of my current job can I keep that will help me move toward my next goal? Or what do I need to learn from this experience before I make a change? By reframing the problem as an opportunity to design the next phase of their career, the person opens up more possibilities and takes proactive steps toward their goal. One of the most powerful reframing techniques the authors offer is the idea of asking dumb questions. Sometimes we get so caught up in the complexity of the situation that we forget to ask the simple, obvious questions that can lead to breakthroughs. By asking seemingly dumb questions, we challenge our assumptions and bring new perspectives to the table. These questions might sound like, what's the worst that could happen? Or what if I treated the situation like an experiment? By stepping back and reframing the problem in a simpler way, we can often uncover innovative solutions that we might have missed before. Burnett and Evans also emphasize that reframing is a creative process. It requires us to tap into our imagination and allow ourselves to think outside the box. Rather than being rigid or narrow in our thinking, reframing encourages us to explore multiple angles and solutions. It's about embracing curiosity and remaining open to different ways of approaching life's challenges. Another crucial point the authors make is that reframing doesn't mean ignoring reality. It's not about denying or glossing over problems. It's about rethinking how we approach them. Reframing allows us to take the reality of our situation and reimagine it in a way that aligns with our values and goals. This is where the power of design thinking comes into play. Instead of feeling like a victim of circumstances, we can step into the role of the designer of our lives, shaping the problems we face into opportunities for growth and change. At its core, reframing is a mindset that empowers us to see life as a series of experiments. Burnett and Evans encourage readers to treat their lives as prototypes. When something isn't working, instead of seeing it as a failure, think of it as feedback. What can you learn from it? What's working? What can you tweak to make it better? This mindset shift is at the heart of life design. It takes the pressure off of getting it right and replaces it with the excitement of experimentation and improvement. The chapter wraps up by encouraging readers to take action immediately. The authors challenge us to start reframing the problems we're currently facing and to begin viewing them through a design lens. Whether it's a challenge in your career, your relationships, or your personal life, reframing gives you the tools to find new perspectives, new solutions, and ultimately, new opportunities for growth. In sum, Chapter 3 is all about how to reframe the challenges you encounter in life and turn them into opportunities for growth. By adopting a design thinking mindset, asking creative questions, and looking at problems from fresh perspectives, you can transform seemingly insurmountable obstacles into exciting possibilities. So, when life throws you a curveball, remember, it's not the problem that matters, it's how you choose to frame it. And with the right framing, anything is possible. Chapter 4, The Power of Bias, How to Shift Your Perspective. Have you ever found yourself stuck in a way of thinking, feeling like no matter how hard you try, your circumstances won't change? Well, it turns out that the real obstacle is often not the situation itself, but the way we view it. The authors, Bill Burnett and Dave Evans, uncover a powerful truth. Our biases, those hidden filters through which we interpret everything, can trap us in repetitive patterns and limit our potential. This chapter digs into how biases shape our reality and, more importantly, how we can use this awareness to design a life that's truly fulfilling. At the heart of this chapter is a concept that bias is a natural part of being human. We all have them. Biases are those automatic mental shortcuts our brains take to make quick decisions, often based on past experiences, assumptions, or societal conditioning. While these shortcuts can be helpful in some situations, they can also lead us down narrow, limiting paths, especially when we're trying to make important life decisions. Burnett and Evans explore several types of biases that play a role in shaping our lives. One of the most common is the confirmation bias. This happens when we only seek out information that supports what we already believe, ignoring or dismissing anything that contradicts our views. Have you ever noticed how, when you're thinking about making a major life change, you might start seeking out only the advice that aligns with your desires, while tuning out anything that challenges your ideas? That's confirmation bias at work. While it might feel good in the moment, it doesn't serve us in the long run. The authors make the point that this bias can prevent us from seeing the full picture, from considering new perspectives, and from opening ourselves to opportunities we might have overlooked. To design a life we love, we need to confront our biases and take steps to broaden our thinking. The first step? Becoming aware of the biases that influence our decisions. Another bias the authors address is the availability bias. This is a tendency to overestimate the importance of information we have easy access to, often because it's vivid, recent, or emotionally charged. For example, after reading a headline about a successful entrepreneur, you might feel an impulse to jump into business yourself. believing it's easy to replicate their success. In truth, the availability bias makes it easy to ignore the fact that the media only shows success stories, not the struggles, failures, and long hours that come with them. This is why Burnett and Evans emphasize the need to dig deeper and gather a wider range of information before making decisions. The authors also touch on the status quo bias, which is our natural tendency to prefer things to stay the same, even when we know change is needed. This bias can keep us stuck in jobs we dislike, relationships that no longer serve us, or habits that hold us back. It's easy to stay in our comfort zones, but if we want to design a life that is intentional and aligned with our goals, we need to challenge this bias. The discomfort that comes with change is often a sign of growth, and the authors encourage us to embrace it rather than avoid it. But how do we break free from these biases and shift our perspective? The key is something the authors call radical collaboration. This means involving others in your design process and exposing yourself to different points of view. By seeking feedback from people who see the world differently, you force yourself out of your narrow thinking patterns. It's easy to stay in your bubble, listening to people who think like you, but real growth happens when we engage with diverse perspectives. Whether it's a mentor, a friend, or someone from a completely different field, collaboration helps us overcome our biases and opens us up to fresh ideas. Burnett and Evans also discuss the importance of reframing your biases through experience. They encourage us to think of life as an ongoing experiment. Instead of being afraid of the outcomes, experiment with new ways of thinking, acting, and living. For example, if you've always felt stuck in a certain career path because you're convinced you lack the right skills, reframing this belief means experimenting with new ways of learning and approaching challenges. Maybe you try a course in a totally different area or start volunteering in a field you're passionate about. By reframing your biases, you allow yourself to experiment with possibilities that were once blocked off. The chapter isn't all about confronting biases directly. It also dives into the importance of embracing uncertainty. One of the biggest biases we all carry is the need for certainty. We feel like we need to have everything figured out before making any moves in our lives. This desire for certainty can keep us paralyzed, unable to make decisions or take risks. However, Burnett and Evans argue that life design isn't about having all the answers up front. It's about exploring possibilities, taking small steps, and being open to surprises along the way. One great technique the authors recommend is the prototype mindset. Instead of trying to plan your life in its entirety, start by trying out small experiments that let you test your assumptions. It's about embracing the fact that you don't have to have everything figured out. In fact, you can't have everything figured out. Life is a journey of trial, error, and iteration. When you adopt this mindset, biases begin to lose their grip and new possibilities emerge. The chapter wraps up with a call to action. Challenge your biases by intentionally seeking out experiences that push you out of your comfort zone. Try things that don't immediately feel familiar or comfortable. Surround yourself with people who have different perspectives and approach your life decisions with the curiosity of a designer. By doing so, you'll begin to break free from the limitations of bias and step into a world where anything is possible. In conclusion, Chapter 4 sheds light on how our biases shape the way we design our lives and offers practical ways to reframe these biases to unlock new possibilities. The authors emphasize that designing your life requires becoming aware of these mental shortcuts, challenging them, and replacing them with a mindset of curiosity and experimentation. It's about embracing uncertainty, engaging in radical collaboration, and allowing your life to be a creative process rather than a fixed destination. By shifting your perspective and confronting your biases, you open the door to a life that is more aligned with your true desires and potential. Chapter 5, Reframing the Impossible, Transforming Obstacles into Opportunities. Ever feel like you're staring at a wall, unable to see a way around it? Whether an overwhelming challenge at work, a personal setback, or an obstacle that seems insurmountable, we all face moments where the goal feels out of reach. But what if the wall you're staring at isn't a barrier, but an opportunity in disguise? What if the obstacles in your life were just stepping stones waiting to be transformed? In this chapter, Bill Burnett and Dave Evans challenge us to rethink how we approach life's inevitable challenges. The authors make a bold statement. Obstacles aren't the problem. It's our mindset about them that holds us back. They invite us to reconsider the way we view obstacles, not as barriers to our success, but as a part of the design process. After all, design isn't just about creating, it's about problem solving. And sometimes it's the problem that leads to the breakthrough. The first step in reframing obstacles, the author suggests, is to understand that everything is a prototype. This means that life itself is an ongoing experiment. Instead of treating setbacks as failures, treat them as data, valuable feedback that helps you adjust, learn, and refine your approach. The authors encourage us to take on the mindset of a designer, which means treating challenges as tests. If something doesn't work, don't see it as a dead end. Instead, see it as an opportunity to pivot, change, and innovate. This mindset shift is crucial because, let's face it, life isn't smooth sailing. Whether you're trying to land a new job, launch a business, or improve your relationships, obstacles are guaranteed to arise. But rather than viewing them as setbacks, the author suggests embracing them as part of the process. Each obstacle you face is an opportunity to strengthen your problem-solving skills and get one step closer to your goals. The authors provide a powerful example of how reframing obstacles can unlock new possibilities. They recount a story of a woman who dreamed of becoming a writer, but faced numerous rejections from publishers. Rather than giving up, she reframed her failure as a chance to try a different approach. She self-published her book. What started as a roadblock transformed into a breakthrough. She was able to reach readers directly, build her audience, and eventually attract the attention of a major publisher. Her story is a testament to the power of reframing obstacles as opportunities. But reframing isn't just about looking at setbacks in a different light. It's also about action. The authors emphasize that in order to design a life you love, you need to take a proactive approach to obstacles. The key is to break down your big, intimidating goals into smaller, more manageable steps. This doesn't mean avoiding the challenge. It means finding the right way to engage with it. Burnett and Evans introduced the concept of wayfinding, a term borrowed from navigation. Wayfinding is about navigating through uncertainty with a sense of purpose, even when you can't see the full path ahead. Rather than trying to have everything figured out, wayfinding encourages you to take action, adjust as you go, and trust that your next steps will unfold as you move forward. Think of it like sailing in foggy weather. You can't see the entire route, but as long as you stay the course, you'll eventually get to your destination. This idea of wayfinding is especially useful when facing obstacles that seem to block your path entirely. Instead of waiting for the fog to clear or for the perfect plan to emerge, you take the first step. That small action leads to another, and then another until you find your way through. By reframing obstacles and taking consistent action, the author suggests that you'll turn challenges into opportunities for growth. As you start applying this reframing mindset to your own life, the author suggests asking yourself a powerful question. What can I do now that will bring me closer to my goal? This question shifts the focus from the problem to the potential solutions, opening up new paths for progress. Instead of getting stuck on the obstacle itself, you focus on how you can navigate through it or around it. The chapter also encourages us to embrace imperfection. As human beings, we tend to want everything to be perfect before we take action. But waiting for perfection is a surefire way to stay stuck. Instead, the authors urge us to take action imperfectly, knowing that mistakes and failures are part of the learning process. Perfectionism can be paralyzing, but imperfection is liberating. It frees you to try, fail, learn, and ultimately succeed. As you engage with obstacles, don't be afraid to make mistakes. They're often the most valuable lessons along the way. In a final example, Burnett and Evans highlight the story of a man who wanted to build a successful startup but kept hitting wall after wall. Instead of getting discouraged, he reframed his failures as opportunities to learn more about his target audience, refine his product, and adjust his business model. Through trial and error, he eventually found a winning formula. The key takeaway here is that in the design process of life, obstacles are not the enemy. They're the teachers that help us get better. As the chapter draws to a close, the authors remind us that life design is a process, not a destination. Obstacles are inevitable, but how we respond to them determines our success. By reframing challenges as opportunities, taking action despite uncertainty, and embracing imperfection, we can transform setbacks into stepping stones. Life isn't about avoiding obstacles. It's about how we design our journey around them. By doing so, we become more resilient, more creative, and more capable of designing a life that is both fulfilling and joyful. Ultimately, Chapter 5 is all about shifting our mindset. When we stop seeing obstacles as problems and start viewing them as opportunities for growth and innovation, we open up a world of possibility. Challenges are inevitable, but with the right approach, they become integral parts of the journey, not roadblocks to our success. Chapter 6, Building Your Compass, Navigating Life's Uncertainty with Purpose. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast, uncharted ocean. The waters are unpredictable, the winds erratic, and there's no clear path in sight. Yet, there's a goal on the horizon, a distant, promising land you're determined to reach. The journey will be difficult, uncertain, and full of unforeseen obstacles, but one thing will guide you through: your compass. In life, that compass is your sense of purpose, your why. As we continue on our journey of life design, the authors, Bill Burnett and Dave Evans, shift the focus to one of the most powerful tools we can wield in uncertain times: purpose. Having a sense of purpose, knowing your guiding principles and what truly matters to you, becomes a rudder that steers you through the inevitable storms of life. Without it, we're adrift, tossed by the winds of external expectations, circumstances, and challenges. With it, we can navigate through any turbulence, finding meaning and direction even when the way forward isn't immediately clear. Purpose isn't something you find by searching for the perfect job, the ideal relationship, or the ultimate goal. It's something you create from within, a set of guiding values and principles that shape your decisions and actions. Burnett and Evans argue that purpose isn't a static destination, but a dynamic, evolving compass that adjusts as you grow and learn. The idea of life design is about continuously refining your compass so that you can stay on course regardless of the unpredictable winds around you. To begin building your compass, the author suggests an exercise in self-reflection. They ask you to take a step back and look at your life as a whole. What are the moments that have truly resonated with you? What experiences have made you feel most alive, fulfilled, and engaged? These moments, they suggest, hold the key to understanding your deeper motivations and desires. It's easy to get caught up in the pursuit of external markers of success: money, status, titles, approval. But Burnett and Evans caution against defining your purpose solely by these outward signs. Instead, they encourage you to focus inward and identify the qualities, values, and experiences that have brought you true satisfaction. For some, it might be the joy of creating something new. For others, it's the satisfaction of helping others or the thrill of solving complex problems. These aren't just hobbies or passing interests. They're clues to your purpose. The authors also emphasize that purpose is not fixed or permanent. It's not something you find once and for all. Rather, it's something that can evolve over time. As we grow and experience new things, our purpose shifts and changes. This is a natural part of life's design process. What mattered to you at May 25th not hold the same significance at 45, and that's okay. The key is to remain flexible and open to change, adjusting your compass as you gain new insights and experiences. One of the most profound lessons in this chapter is the realization that purpose doesn't always come from a grand, dramatic discovery. Sometimes, it emerges from the most mundane of activities or the smallest of choices. It's easy to look at the lives of others and feel like we're behind, like they've found their purpose and we're still wandering. But Burnett and Evans remind us that purpose is often discovered incrementally through the simple act of trying things, experimenting, and reflecting on the results. This is where the concept of prototyping comes back into play. Instead of waiting for some magical moment of clarity, Burnett and Evans urge you to start small. Take the things that resonate with you, experiment with them, and see where they lead. If something feels fulfilling, pursue it further. If it doesn't, pivot. The more you prototype your life, trying different paths, engaging in different activities, and seeing what excites you, the clearer your purpose will become. As you design your life, the author suggests using your compass as a tool for decision-making. Whenever you face a crossroads or a difficult decision, ask yourself, does this align with my purpose? This question will help you filter out distractions and stay focused on what truly matters. If a choice doesn't support your deeper values, then it's likely not the right path to take. Your compass will guide you through the fog of uncertainty, helping you navigate away from things that don't serve you and towards opportunities that do. Burnett and Evans also tackle a common challenge: the fear of making the wrong choice. Many of us hesitate to commit to a purpose or path because we're afraid of failure. What if we choose the wrong direction? What if we get it wrong? The authors assure us that no decision is permanent. The beauty of life design is that it's a dynamic, iterative process. If you make a decision and it doesn't work out, that's not a failure. It's valuable feedback. Adjust, learn, and keep moving forward. A key insight from this chapter is that purpose doesn't just help us stay on course. It also helps us enjoy the journey. Life can feel like a series of endless tasks and obligations. But when we live with purpose, even the mundane can take on meaning. Burnett and Evans stress that life design isn't about perfection or constant happiness. It's about alignment. When we align our daily actions with our deeper values, even the challenges feel worthwhile because they are steps towards something meaningful. As you work to design your life, keep in mind that purpose is not about having all the answers right away. It's about asking the right questions. What brings you joy? What makes you feel fulfilled? What legacy do you want to leave behind? These are the questions that help shape your compass. And just as importantly, they help you develop the clarity to make decisions that align with who you are at your core. Building your compass is a continual process. As your life unfolds, new experiences, relationships, and insights will refine your sense of purpose. The beauty of life design is that it's a lifelong journey, a journey in which you are both a designer and an explorer. The compass you create today may evolve over time, but it will always point you in the right direction as long as you stay true to yourself. By the end of the chapter, Burnett and Evans leave you with this empowering thought: your compass is yours to create. Life doesn't give you a fixed purpose or a predetermined path. It gives you the tools to design your own, based on your values, desires, and experiences. With your compass in hand, you can navigate through uncertainty, make decisions with confidence, and create a life that's truly your own. This chapter isn't just about building a purpose. It's about giving yourself permission to be the architect of your own journey. Your life is yours to design. Chapter 7. Embracing the power of play and exploration. What if the secret to designing a life you love isn't about rigid planning and constant productivity, but instead embracing a mindset of play and exploration? What if the key to unlocking your most creative, fulfilling life is found in the ability to experiment, take risks, and venture into the unknown? In this chapter, Burnett and Evans take us on a journey into the world of exploration, encouraging us to break free from constraint to perfectionism and the fear of failure. In the world of life design, the ability to play is not just a luxury, it's a necessity. Play allows you to step outside the realm of right and wrong and opens up new possibilities that you may have never considered. It's the opportunity to explore different facets of who you are, to test new ideas, and to discover paths that are not dictated by your past experiences or societal expectations. And the best part? There's no such thing as failure in play, only learning and evolving. The authors begin by explaining the difference between playing and working. Working often involves a structured, goal-oriented approach where success is measured by results. Play, on the other hand, is about exploration and curiosity, not outcome. It's about trying things without a predefined purpose or end goal. Play allows you to experiment with new hobbies, interests, or activities without the pressure of achieving something specific. This sense of freedom creates space for creativity and joy, two ingredients that are essential to life design. Burnett and Evans argue that one of the biggest barriers to life design is a fear of failure. So often, we hold ourselves back from trying something new because we fear that we will fall short, waste time, or make a mistake. But when we approach life with a sense of play, we shift our perspective. Instead of focusing on the potential for failure, we focus on the potential for growth and discovery. Every experience, whether it leads to success or not, becomes an opportunity to learn, adjust, and move closer to the life we want to create. To bring this idea to life, Burnett and Evans introduced the concept of prototyping as a tool for life design. Prototyping is a process of experimentation that allows you to test out different paths and approaches before committing fully. Just like a designer might create a prototype of a new product to test its viability, you can prototype your life by trying out different activities, career paths, or ways of living before deciding which ones align with your true values. Prototyping is playful. It's about taking small, low-risk steps that allow you to explore without the pressure of making the right decision. As you prototype your life, the author suggests that you adopt an attitude of curiosity and openness. Instead of seeing each new attempt as a test to pass or fail, see it as an opportunity to learn about yourself. What excites you? What drains you? What makes you feel alive? What challenges stretch you? These are the questions that help guide your exploration. The more you prototype, the more you refine your understanding of what truly resonates with you, bringing you closer to your authentic life design. Burnett and Evans also emphasize the importance of staying playful when facing setbacks or challenges. Life design is not a linear process. It's a winding road with plenty of detours, roadblocks, and unexpected twists. However, when we view these challenges as part of play, we're able to adapt and continue moving forward. For example, if you try something and it doesn't work out as planned, instead of viewing it as a failure, try to approach it with curiosity. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I adjust and improve for next time? This playful mindset can also help you let go of the pressure to make the perfect decision every time. When you feel free to explore without the weight of perfectionism, you're more likely to take risks, try new things, and ultimately discover paths that you might have overlooked in the past. Life design is not about having everything figured out right away. It's about being open to the process, embracing uncertainty, and trusting that the right opportunities will come along as you continue to explore. To illustrate the power of play, Burnett and Evans share stories of individuals who have embraced play in their life designs. One example is a person who transitioned from a corporate job to a career in the arts. At first, this individual wasn't sure the arts were their calling, but they allowed themselves to experiment with different forms of creative expression. Over time, through playful exploration, they discovered that their true passion lay in painting, which led to a fulfilling and successful career in the arts. This person didn't follow a clear-cut path or have a fixed goal. They simply allowed themselves to play with different possibilities until they stumbled upon the one that truly resonated. This chapter is a reminder that life design doesn't have to be a serious, rigid process. In fact, it's through embracing play and exploration that we find the freedom to create a life that is truly our own. The ability to experiment, make mistakes, and pivot along the way is what makes life design such a powerful tool for living a joyful, authentic life. As you move forward with your own life design, think about how you can bring more play into your journey. What activities can you explore without the need for perfection? What new hobbies, interests, or paths can you prototype in order to learn more about yourself and your desires? The more you approach life with curiosity and openness, the more you'll discover the paths that truly bring you fulfillment. In the end, life design is not about having all the answers up front. It's about being willing to explore, make mistakes, and have fun along the way. By embracing the power of play, you open yourself up to endless possibilities and, in the process, create a life that is filled with meaning, joy, and discovery. The journey may not always be straightforward, but with play as your guiding principle, it will certainly be an adventure worth taking. Chapter 8. Designing Your Life with Constraints. Imagine this. You're given an unlimited budget, endless hours in a day, and every resource you could ever need. Sounds like a dream, right? But paradoxically, it's in the world of constraints, whether they are time, money, energy, or responsibilities, that we truly uncover the magic of life design. Constraints are not the walls that hold us back. They're the edges of the canvas where creativity flourishes. In this chapter, Burnett and Evans invite us to shift our perspective on constraints. Instead of seeing them as obstacles, they urge us to embrace them as vital tools for creating a more meaningful and purposeful life. In fact, it's often the constraints in our lives that spark our most innovative ideas, the ones that propel us forward with purpose and clarity. You see, when faced with limitations, we become more focused. We are forced to make choices, prioritize what matters most, and let go of the things that don't serve our goals. In a world filled with distractions and limitless options, constraints help us cut through the noise and focus on what truly counts. They act as a guiding force, helping us navigate the overwhelming sea of possibilities by honing in on what is most important. Burnett and Evans emphasize that constraints are not something to be feared. Instead, they are an opportunity to experiment with creativity in a constrained space. This is what life design is all about. How can we maximize our potential within the framework of the resources and circumstances we have? Whether it's designing a career with limited time or creating a personal life that fits within a set of financial constraints, the way we respond to these limitations shapes the life we ultimately create. A key idea here is that constraints force us to prioritize what we truly care about. When we're free to choose anything, we may become paralyzed by the number of options in front of us. But when we're faced with constraints, we're pushed to ask ourselves, what do I truly want? What's most important? This narrowing of focus enables us to make decisions that are aligned with our core values and long-term goals, rather than getting caught up in the fleeting distractions of the moment. Burnett and Evans share a powerful example of how constraints can fuel creativity. A company, for instance, might be given a tight deadline for launching product, or might have a limited budget to work with. Rather than stifling innovation, these constraints can inspire the team to think outside the box. They are forced to prioritize the most important features, streamline their process, and find solutions that they might not have considered with an open-ended brief. When applied to life design, this idea is just as relevant. Maybe you have a limited budget to design your career, or a finite amount of time to dedicate to your personal goals. These constraints can push you to find more efficient, impactful ways to move forward. Instead of feeling restricted by your circumstances, you can begin to see them as a spark for creative solutions that you may never have considered if you had been given all the time or money in the world. The authors also explain how constraints can make us more resilient. By working within limitations, we develop a sense of resourcefulness. We learn how to make the most of what we have, adjust our expectations, and become more agile in the face of challenges. This resilience is a critical part of life design. It's not about creating a perfect, unchanging blueprint, but about building the flexibility to navigate and adapt to whatever life throws your way. As you begin to design your own life with constraints, Burnett and Evans suggest that you start by defining the limitations you are working with. This could mean acknowledging financial constraints, time constraints, or even emotional and physical limitations. Once you have a clear understanding of what you're up against, you can start to think about how to approach these constraints creatively. What can you let go of? What can you make do with? How can you turn these constraints into an advantage? One of the most empowering aspects of working with constraints is that they provide a sense of structure and discipline. Rather than feeling overwhelmed by the endless choices available, constraints force us to focus on what truly matters and commit to a path that reflects our deepest priorities. It's about saying yes to the right things and no to everything else. In this process, we learn to refine our vision, clarify our goals, and take meaningful action toward the life we want to create. Moreover, embracing constraints can bring a sense of freedom. By accepting that we can't have it all, we release the burden of trying to do everything at once. Constraints allow us to create space for what's essential, helping us simplify our lives and focus our energy on what really matters. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by infinite possibilities, we find clarity in narrowing our focus and committing to a few key priorities. As Burnett and Evans wrap up this chapter, they encourage us to remember that constraints are not the enemy. They are the tools that help us shape a life of meaning and purpose. By designing your life within the context of your limitations, you're not limiting your potential, you're amplifying it. You're honing your creativity, building resilience, and gaining clarity on what truly matters. Life design, they remind us, isn't about trying to create a perfect, limitless life. It's about embracing the constraints we have and using them to build a life that is aligned with our values, our goals, and our deepest desires. With this mindset, constraint become not just something we endure, but something we embrace, a vital part of the creative process that helps us design a well-lived, joyful life. So, as you reflect on constraints in your own life, think about how you can use them to fuel your creativity, sharpen your focus, and build a life that truly reflects who you are. Whether it's in your career, your relationships, or your personal growth, constraints are not the things that hold you back. They're the forces that will propel you forward toward the life you were meant to live. Chapter 9. building a prototype for your future. Ever thought about your life as a prototype? Just like a designer working on a new product, you can approach your future with an experimental mindset, testing out ideas, making adjustments, and learning as you go. In this chapter, Burnett and Evans encourage you to think of your life as an ongoing experiment, not a one-and-done project. Life isn't about finding the perfect formula and sticking to it forever. It's about trying things out, evaluating your experiences, and refining your path along the way. The idea of prototyping isn't new to the world of design. It's been used in product development for years. And it works. In the context of life design, it means testing different career paths, relationships, hobbies, and ways of living until you find the combination that works best for you. It's a continuous cycle of trying, reflecting, and improving. But the key is to stop waiting for the perfect moment or situation. Instead, start where you are and experiment with what you've got. Burnett and Evans highlight how prototyping can help you avoid the paralyzing effects of perfectionism. If you wait until everything is perfect to start designing your life, you'll never begin. The process of prototyping encourages you to take action, even if that means starting small and testing out ideas that seem risky or unconventional. Prototyping isn't about creating a final, flawless design right away. It's about gathering information, learning through experience, and adjusting along the way. One of the central themes in this chapter is that failure is not something to be feared. It's something to embrace. Prototypes often fail, but each failure is a valuable learning experience. When you try something and it doesn't work out, you gain insights that help you make better decisions next time. This concept is crucial to life design because it allows you to let go of the fear of failure that often holds us back. By shifting your perspective and seeing failures as learning opportunities, you free yourself to take risks and make decisions that align with your true desires. One of the key points Burnett and Evans stress is the importance of taking small steps. You don't have to make dramatic, life-changing decisions all at once. Instead, try out small prototypes of different aspects of your life. You can test new career paths by volunteering, try out a new lifestyle by taking a weekend retreat, or experiment with a new hobby by signing up for a class. Prototyping allows you to dip your toes into new waters before making a full commitment. The goal is to test, observe, and gather data before moving forward. The concept of life prototyping also brings with it the idea of building flexibility into your life design. Life is dynamic and circumstances change. What works for you today might not work in the future. By approaching life design as a series of experiments, you build in the flexibility to pivot when necessary. This adaptability is one of the most powerful aspects of life prototyping. It allows you to stay nimble and open to new opportunities, knowing that you can always adjust your approach based on what you learn. Burnett and Evans also talk about the importance of failing forward. They explain that failure doesn't mean you wasted time or resources. On the contrary, failure can give you important feedback that guides you toward making more informed decisions in the future. For example, if you try a new career and find out it's not what you expected, you've gained valuable insight into what does and doesn't work for you. Instead of seeing this as a setback, consider it as a necessary step in the prototyping process. A critical aspect of prototyping your life is the ability to embrace uncertainty. When you prototype, you're stepping into the unknown, and that can feel uncomfortable. But instead of letting that discomfort hold you back, see it as a sign that you're on the right path. Prototyping invites you to take action, even when the end result is uncertain. It encourages you to trust the process and your ability to adapt along the way. To truly embrace the concept of prototyping, Burnett and Evans suggest that you approach your life design with a mindset of curiosity. Instead of approaching decisions with a sense of fear or perfectionism, try to approach them with excitement and experimentation. Ask yourself, what will I learn from this? What new information can I gather? By approaching each decision as a learning opportunity, you open yourself up to unexpected discoveries and insights that can guide your future steps. They also share a practical framework for building prototypes in your life. Start with small, low-risk experiments, and then build on them as you learn more. For example, if you're interested in changing careers, you can prototype by taking a course, shadowing someone in that field, or trying out freelance work. These smaller steps allow you to test the waters and gather real-world information before diving into a more significant commitment. The process of prototyping also applies to relationships, hobbies, and even personal growth. If you want to improve your health, you can prototype by trying out different workout routines or diets before committing to a long-term plan. If you're looking for deeper relationships, you can prototype by reaching out to new people, joining social groups, or taking on volunteer projects. The key is to experiment and gather feedback from your experiences. As you begin to embrace the idea of prototyping your life, you'll likely discover that your goals and desires evolve over time. What once seemed like the perfect life design might change as you learn more about yourself through your experiments. And that's okay. Life design is not about sticking to a rigid plan. It's about adapting to what you learn along the way and being open to new possibilities. Burnett and Evans also remind us that prototyping is not a linear process. There will be detours, setbacks, and unexpected twists along the way. But that's all part of the journey. Embrace the process, enjoy the discoveries, and trust that each step you take is one step closer to designing a life that feels fulfilling, authentic, and truly yours. As you move forward with your life design, keep in mind that the power of prototyping is in its ability to help you make decisions, learn from experience, and adapt your approach as you go. With each experiment, you'll learn something new about yourself and the world around you. And with that knowledge, you'll be better equipped to continue designing the life you want to live. By the end of this chapter, the key takeaway is clear. Your life is a prototype. Test, fail, learn, adapt, and repeat. With each cycle, you'll build a more complete and authentic version of your future. Prototyping is not about perfection. It's about progress. So, what's your first prototype going to be? Chapter 10, Embracing the Power of Curiosity. What if the secret to designing a life that feels deeply fulfilling isn't just about setting clear goals or having a rigid plan? What if, instead, it's about adopting a mindset that's open to exploration, discovery, and curiosity? This chapter delves into how curiosity can transform the way you think about and approach life design. Curiosity, often underestimated in the fast-paced, goal-driven world we live in, is actually a powerful tool. It helps us break free from limiting assumptions and explore new possibilities. When you allow yourself to be curious about the world around you, you open the door to new experiences, new ideas, and new opportunities. But most importantly, curiosity helps you discover what really excites and energizes you. It leads you to unexpected revelations about yourself and the world. Burnett and Evans talk about how curiosity doesn't just benefit those who are naturally curious. It's something that can be cultivated and applied by anyone, no matter where they are in life. It's about asking more questions, exploring things that spark your interest, and following a trail of curiosity to uncover deeper insights into who you are and what you want. In a world that often prioritizes practicality, curiosity can be the fuel that propels you toward more creative and fulfilling solutions. For example, if you're stuck in a job or career path that doesn't light you up, curiosity can guide you to ask questions like, what other paths might be available to me? Or what interests have I neglected that could bring new meaning to my work? This doesn't mean making rash decisions, but it means actively exploring ideas that might have once felt out of reach or impractical. At the heart of curiosity is the willingness to step into the unknown. Many people avoid it because it feels risky, uncertain, or even uncomfortable. But it's exactly in the unknown where we grow the most. Curiosity encourages you to step into that uncertainty, not as a threat, but as an opportunity to learn, adapt, and experiment. It invites you to let go of the pressure to have everything figured out and to instead enjoy the process of discovery. A fascinating concept introduced by Burnett and Evans is the idea of bias toward action. This means taking small steps toward things that spark your curiosity, even if you don't have a whole picture yet. The goal isn't to wait for clarity to arrive, but to keep moving and learning as you go. It's about trusting that each step, no matter how small, brings you closer to the answers you seek. Take a moment to think about your own life. How often do you allow curiosity to guide your decisions? How often do you ask questions simply to explore an idea, without needing to know the outcome? The key to embracing curiosity is to see it as a tool for exploration, not a task you need to accomplish. One of the most exciting aspects of curiosity is how it can help you break out of the cycle of fear and indecision. Many of us find ourselves stuck because we're afraid of making the wrong choice, or we feel overwhelmed by the pressure to make the perfect decision. Curiosity provides a way to sidestep this paralyzing fear. Instead of focusing on the outcome, curiosity invites you to focus on the journey, on learning and exploring, without the burden of having to get everything right from the start. The chapter also introduces the idea of reframing your life as a series of experiments. Every time you try something new, whether it's a new job, a new hobby, or a new relationship, you're gathering valuable data about yourself. You're learning what works for you and what doesn't, what excites you and what drains you. This process of experimentation is essential for designing a life that feels authentic and fulfilling. It's not about committing to one path forever. It's about testing, reflecting, and adjusting as you go. For instance, Burnett and Evans encourage you to think of your career or major life choices not as final, unchangeable decisions, but as prototypes. It's a mindset that makes it easier to experiment with different paths without the overwhelming pressure of feeling like every decision is make or break. By adopting this mindset, you can approach life with a sense of adventure, knowing that you have the flexibility to adjust and pivot as you learn more about what you want. Another important aspect of curiosity is its ability to help you navigate the unexpected. Life rarely goes as planned, and the more curious you are, the better equipped you'll be to handle surprises. When something unexpected happens, whether it's a job loss, a personal setback, or a sudden change of circumstances, you can use your curiosity to explore new possibilities, rather than seeing it as a failure or a dead end. Curiosity helps you see it as an opportunity to learn something new about yourself or the world. Burnett and Evans also point out that curiosity isn't just about external exploration. It's about exploring your inner world, too. Self-awareness is an essential component of life design, and curiosity helps you better understand your values, strengths, and weaknesses. By asking questions like, what truly matters to me? Or, what do I want to contribute to the world? You uncover deeper layers of yourself that can guide your life decisions. As you cultivate curiosity, it's important to be open to what might feel uncomfortable. Curiosity thrives on discomfort because it's in the unknown that we often experience the most growth. The more you push yourself to explore things outside of your comfort zone, the more you'll discover what's truly important to you and where your passions lie. Finally, the chapter ends with a challenge to embrace curiosity in every aspect of your life. Start by asking more questions, trying new things, and stepping outside your comfort zone. Take small steps that fuel your curiosity and see where they lead. Instead of focusing on achieving perfection or finding the right answer, focus on the journey of exploration. In doing so, you'll begin to uncover the answers that will help you design a life that is rich with meaning, joy, and fulfillment. Curiosity is the engine that drives the process of designing your life. So, how will you feed your curiosity today? What new thing will you explore? Chapter 11, Building Your Compass, Values, Purpose, and Alignment. Life isn't just about choosing a career, setting goals, or achieving success. It's about creating a life that truly reflects who you are, what you believe in, and what you value most. But how do you know if the path you're on is the right one? How can you ensure that the choices you're making align with your deeper sense of purpose? This chapter is all about developing a compass, a guiding system that helps you stay true to your values and keeps you on track when life gets complicated. At the heart of designing your life lies the concept of alignment. Alignment is more than just checking off boxes on a to-do list. It's about creating harmony between what you do and who you are. It's the intersection where your actions, decisions, and life choices meet your core values, passions, and purpose. When you are aligned, life feels more fulfilling, meaningful, and in flow. When you are misaligned, you experience stress, dissatisfaction, and discontent. The first step in creating your compass is to gain clarity on your values. Your values are the principles and beliefs that guide your decisions and behaviors. They are the things that matter most to you, like honesty, creativity, family, freedom, health, or adventure. Identifying your core values is critical because they act as your internal GPS. They point you in the direction of your true north, helping you make decisions that are consistent with who you are at the deepest level. Burnett and Evans encourage you to take a deep dive into what truly matters to you. What are the things you can't live without? What are the causes or ideas you fight for? These aren't surface-level preferences, but the fundamental forces that shape your identity. Understanding your values helps you see where you are currently aligned and where you might be out of sync with your true self. For example, if you value creativity and freedom but find yourself stuck in a job that stifles both, you may feel unfulfilled, even if the job is lucrative or prestigious. The disconnect between your values and your daily life can leave you feeling empty, no matter what you achieve. By understanding your values, you gain the power to make conscious choices that bring more meaning into your life. Once you have clarity on your values, the next step is to explore your sense of purpose. Purpose is the why behind everything you do. It's the larger vision that gives your life direction and meaning. While values guide your daily decisions, purpose offers a long-term vision that keeps you focused on what matters most over time. For many, discovering their purpose can feel elusive or daunting, but Burnett and Evans argue that it doesn't need to be a grand revelation. Your purpose can be something as simple as helping others, creating beautiful things, seeking knowledge, or spreading positivity. What's essential is that your purpose is something that resonates deeply with you, something that stirs your heart and gives you a sense of fulfillment. When you combine your values with your purpose, you create a powerful alignment. Your purpose acts as a foundation for your decisions, and your values help you navigate the day-to-day choices that support that purpose. It's a dynamic system that constantly helps you recalibrate and ensures that you're staying on the right path. This alignment leads to greater satisfaction because it aligns what you're doing with who you are. But life isn't always smooth, and there will be moments when you'll face tough decisions, uncertainty, or confusion. That's when your compass truly shines. It's easy to get lost in the chaos of life. Work pressures, family demands, societal expectations, or even your own inner conflicts. The compass you've built with your values and purpose acts as an anchor, reminding you of what truly matters and providing a sense of direction when things get overwhelming. Burnett and Evans suggest an exercise called a life design portfolio to help you assess where you stand in relation to your values and purpose. By evaluating different areas of your life, such as career, relationships, health, and personal growth, you can determine whether your actions are aligned with your core values. This assessment helps you identify where you might be out of balance, and it gives you the opportunity to make adjustments that bring you closer to the life you want to live. The Life Design Portfolio isn't about perfection. It's about identifying areas where you might be settling for less than you deserve or ignoring parts of yourself that need attention. It's an invitation to be honest about where you are and to make changes that will help you align more fully with your true self. One of the key takeaways from this chapter is that life design is an ongoing process. It's not about getting everything right from the start. Instead, it's about being willing to adjust and refine your path as you go. As your life evolves, so too will your values, priorities, and purpose. What feels aligned today might shift tomorrow, and that's okay. The important thing is to stay connected to your compass and keep making decisions that reflect who you are at any given moment. Ultimately, this chapter challenges you to take a deeper look at the forces that drive you. It asks you to evaluate whether the life you're creating is truly aligned with your deepest desires, values, and purpose. If you're not feeling fulfilled, it's not a sign of failure, but an opportunity to reassess and recalibrate. By building a strong personal compass, you can ensure that you're moving in the direction of your dreams, no matter what challenges or obstacles life throws your way. As you reflect on this process, remember that your life is your own design. It's an ever-evolving masterpiece that reflects your uniqueness. Your values and purpose are the threads that weave through the tapestry of your life, giving it structure, depth, and meaning. By aligning your choices with your compass, you're building a life that is not only joyful but deeply fulfilling and authentic. Designing your life reminds us that we don't have to wait for the perfect opportunity. We can create it. By using design thinking, staying curious, and embracing experimentation, you can shape a life that's not only productive, but also deeply joyful and meaningful. Whether you're facing a major life decision or simply seeking more fulfillment, this approach gives you the tools to move forward with clarity and confidence. If you found this audiobook summary helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more powerful insights from detailed book summaries. Your next breakthrough might just be one summary away.